This fact also that he came to you originally and said, let's get into distressed debt, raises a really important point that I think comes up in a lot of your writing, going back, I think, as far as the Getting Lucky memo in 2014, where you said the easiest way to win at investing is by sticking to inefficient markets. And I think actually way back in 1995 in How the Game Should Be Played, you wrote, study the micro like mad in order to know your subject better than others. You can expect to succeed only if you have a knowledge advantage. Can you talk about that? Because it strikes me as something that I see again and again with the great investors, like with your friend Joe Greenblatt, where he initially got rich partly through his brilliance in special situations, or Bill Ruane, who told me, I just try to learn as much as I can about 7 or 8 good ideas. And it seems like this focus on specializing narrowly, but also in an inefficient market has been absolutely central to your success.
Well, let's take the counterfactual. So remember I said, you got to be thoughtful. When you sit down to start investing, you have to think, what are the elements that are going to make me a success? And again, success means doing better than others. So you can't say I'm smart. You're not the smartest person in the world. And everybody else in the business is pretty smart. You can't say I went to the best schools. That doesn't count for that much. You can't say, I have this generalizable intelligence that I can apply to every asset class and no more than others in every asset class. You have to develop a knowledge advantage. And you have to, usually that comes from, at number one, developing an approach, which is the right approach and that you implement consistently, and from knowing more than the other people. It may be having more data, although that's hard because the SEC's job is to make sure that everybody has the same data. Or it may be doing a better job with the data or having more insight and looking at it. Or it may be in what you said, going into inefficient markets where the information is not evenly distributed. But you got to have some source of superiority. Otherwise, how can you expect to win? Investing is an incredibly competitive game. And winning consists of beating a bunch of other people who are similarly intelligent, numerate, computer literate, hardworking, and very highly motivated. So you have to have an edge. And I think that specialization is one way to try to get an edge. The other thing, though, is it's really important, the concept of the less efficient market. When I try to illustrate market efficiency to people, what I say is, well, what if when I got out of University of Chicago in 1969, I had been approached by a guy and he says, look, I'm a bookmaker and I book bets on football. And I have concluded that I can make a lot of money on football if I know which team is going to win the coin toss at the beginning of the game. So I'm going to give you 15 PhDs and a cray supercomputer, and all you have to do is predict the coin toss at the beginning of every game. Now, if it's a fair coin, it can't be done. It's a waste of time because there's no edge. And that's an efficient market. An efficient market is a market where everybody knows as much as you do, and there's no edge, and you're wasting your time. So our definition of a less efficient market